And she knows me time is the most important key for her to rebound.
It's like her recharge battery,
Yes.
right?
So
what if the recipient is not receptive?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question. Of course, when we try to speak our real feelings and thinking, already we have to overcome so much inner
in the battles,
barrier,
right?
yes, inner battles. And also because we are not used to effective communication. Then we will say things wrong. We might have picked the wrong time, in the wrong tone,
Yes.
in the wrong manner,
Right.
using the wrong language. So then, of course, the other side would not take it well.
I have women who say that they want to avoid conflict. So how do they approach a relationship and conversation?
Yes.
Because they say, I don't want to argue, so I just give in. So
When you are still breathing, you still have this life, you're still alive, you still have the chance, there's still hope.
Hi again, this is Karen again from Midlife Mojo. This is part 2 of my conversation with Dr. Red here. So Dr. Red is a life coach specializing in relationships, on top of with couples as well as family dynamics. So last week, just to recap, we talked about finally finding self-love, because fundamentally no relationship can really work if you need validation from someone else.
Yes.
That's not going to work. And how we as midlife women, we are trained to have that task mentality where we have to deal with things. So finding that time where your children may have left home, they're adults, they don't need you anymore, or maybe there's a career change at home, your husband is more home. Finding that change, shifting things, as Martha Stewart have said, change is good. Change challenges us to be prepared for this next wonderful space that we are walking into called the second spring.
Yes.
So to continue our conversation last week,
Yes.
So when we talk about relationships and all that, in your practice, can you recount a very successful story, perhaps, or a case
I have so many to tell. So as I said before, most of my clients are women, especially women in their kind of 40s, 50s onwards. So they would come to me when they have hit the bottom low.
Right.
For example, health-wise, has cancer, has chronic pain, not able to sleep, always feeling very stressed and worried, or having relationship problem with their spouse, or already divorced as a single mom for years, feeling very lost, or having problems with their children, So they would come to me in such a low energy, low self-esteem stage of their life. And what I would do is, I remember there was this lady in Canada, high achiever, from Hong Kong, winning a scholarship to study in Canada for her undergraduate. Then she got married there. Her husband was also a high achiever. High achiever meaning not only that they excel academically, they also excel in their job, earning money. And then also maybe they are a marathon runner.
Wow.
They are very good at cooking.
High functioning,
like that.
high achieving.
So whatever they do, they just become the best, the champions.
Right.
And they are boom, boom, boom. Okay, they think fast, they act fast. They have no 1 minute to waste in their life.
Yeah.
And that means all the time they are very, very stressed. And then the COVID hit.
Right.
She lost her business, as a result. And her daughter, she has 2 daughters. Her younger one had a very bad accident and became physically paralyzed, basically. All right. For over 2 years, the daughter was lying in bed, always in pain. And so mother would have to take care of the daughter. very intensively. On top of that, as it's not bad enough, her husband also had been sacked by the company.
Okay.
So they are now financially very strained, and her health has deteriorated. She could not sleep. She was always worried. And I still remember the first time we had this Zoom call. She just cried the whole time for 1 hour, talking about her misery. And then I left just one note to her at the end of that 1 hour. I said, look, I know you are in a very desperate situation, but never forget you still have this life. When you are still breathing, you still have this life, you're still alive, you still have the chance, there's still hope.
Yeah.
We would work bit by bit to reclaim your inner strength, to reclaim your hope for your daughter's recovery, for your financial improvement, on top of that, for your own freedom again. So I'm talking about only about 8 months ago. And now this lady, her health has improved a great deal. Her daughter has been able to walk 1 block from the house, which is a massive achievement.
Yeah, my goodness.
And then her husband and her are now getting back together very well. They talk a lot. They can express love to each other. And then this lady, every day, she would have me time. And she knows me time is the most important key for her to rebound.
It's like her recharge battery,
Yes.
right?
So during the me time, she would do meditation. She would do some kind of aerobic exercise so that her body can stretch, can gain more strength. And also the meditation would help her come into her subconsciousness and then reprogram her mindset.
Okay.
So, for example, she no longer thinks that her daughter's illness is her burden. She no longer thinks she would have to help her daughter heal by giving the daughter 24/7 intensive care. Instead, she would communicate effectively with the daughter, I trust you. I share this information with you. You can look at it and maybe it can help you kind of move your body a little bit more. So instead of doing the recovery job for her daughter, she trusts her daughter of doing it by herself.
Right.
And that actually changed her daughter's attitude towards the mother. Because before, the daughter would feel
hopeless.
And useless because I can't do it. Even when I move a little bit, my mom will, let me.
Right.
The mother's motto is, let me.
Yeah. The intention is correct.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not helping the daughter to feel more empowered or independent. Am I right?
Exactly. And so now the daughter is feeling that she can cope a bit more because the mother will allow that space for the daughter to explore and try.
Right.
And when the daughter did not do well, the mother would not blame her, would not say, oh, look, you have failed again. You know, she cut that language.
Right.
She no longer say, look, you've made a mistake.
Right. You tried.
Yeah.
You tried.
Instead, the mother would appreciate whatever nice things that the daughter did. Oh, today you were able to walk towards the toilet.
Yeah.
Today you can sit for more than 10 minutes.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So appreciation. And that is very empowering.
I love that story, but it's also going back to what I heard from my clients as well, is that they I have women who says that they want to avoid conflict. So how do they approach a relationship in conversation?
Yes.
Because they say, oh, I don't want to argue, so I just give in. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of that.
Yes.
What should they do?
Yes, this is very common because we associate confrontation with loss of faith or offense. And then also we have never learned to truly express what we think for the worry that we might get blamed in return. We might lose the love and respect that we really want from that person. So the avoidance of confrontation actually doesn't help us solve problems. Instead, it will worsen the problem because the misunderstanding will carry on, and then we might just divert ourselves further away from the right course. So if we learn to communicate better, we can solve the problem together. So the way we can approach confrontation is, first, we have to, again, me time, okay? Ask ourselves, what is the real problem here? Okay, so for example, in the case of this mother trying to take care of the disabled daughter, the real problem is that she so much wanting the daughter to be better. So there is this anxiety in her, though not spoken, it's felt. The daughter will feel every time mother comes in, there's this really stressed body language, that worried look on the face. And the daughter is already feeling depleted. So the mother will have to sit down and reflect, what is the real problem? What do I really want to achieve? When you are clear your real goal, then you ask yourself, how do I convey that to the other person? So we are not looking at communication as confrontation. There is something called nonviolent communication, NVC, which is a very good way for us to learn to hold hard conversations. Now, having honest and frank conversation with people we care is most difficult. Because of the worry that we might lose their love. We might lose their respect, which we want so much. But the more we try to hide our real feelings, the more we become resentful inside.
And it eats us up.
Then it eats us up. And also the brain would be conditioned in that neural pathway that we just always escape from confrontation, escape from direct conversation. And with time, the relationship will become very superficial or problematic, unhealthy. I've seen so many relationships which are just very shallow. For example, adult children will never tell their parents the trouble they are facing. Or parents actually have illnesses that they conceal from their children. We are so used to lying, not telling the truth, for the silly reason, I call it silly, that we think we can't bear the consequence of telling the truth. Now, that goes back a long way from early on. I mentioned my family in the last episode. My father was very stringent. So when I did not want him to know something, I would just lie. And I would lie together in alliance with my father and my brother. So I became very good at lying because my father would not want me to play, have fun. But I wanted to go to my friend's birthday party. So I would work with your mother to make up a lie. Mother would take me out and say, we're going to do some study, whatever. Then my father would trust, believe. So I don't know about you, dear audience, when you're watching this, how good a liar are you? And how have you been trained into such a good liar because how much you care about relationship? We always want to show the best of ourselves in front of our parents.
Or even to our children.
Our children and our spouse, even our spouse. So with time, we don't even know who we are. We have become so used to wearing masks, facades. We put on layers and layers of pretense.
The mask.
And, using those language, using those experiences, we pretend we are okay, but we are not okay. The body never forgets. The body has
Absorbs
taken
all
in,
this, yeah.
absorbed. So sooner or later, the body will send us big signals. This is not okay.
And it comes out in various forms, whether
Yes.
it's headaches and
Yes.
vertigo or
Yes.
cancer, all these
Yes,
things, it comes out,
absolutely.
it manifests into
Yes.
these things.
Mental illness,
Yes, yeah.
anxiety, this is very common.
Yeah.
Anxiety is a very common problem. When my parents became older, when they had retired, especially my father, he developed a kind of mental illness. But of course, he would refuse to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
He would take a shower. He would stay in the shower room for at least 3 hours. In the worst time, he would spend like 6-7 hours in the shower room. He was suffering from this, what we call compulsive oppressive disorder. He had to clean himself so thoroughly. He would clean his fingers one by one, things like that. So when we do not pay attention to the stress that we have taken in, we keep suppressing our feelings, our true feelings, because of the avoidance of confrontation, because we can't bear telling the truth, then the consequence is we become ill. Physically, mentally, and then relationally.
Right. So how can, when someone tells me that they are having that, they want to avoid that. So besides that, taking a moment to meditate and think about it.
Yes.
But what if the recipient is not receptive?
Yeah. I think this is a very good question. Of course, when we try to speak our real feelings and thinking, already we have to overcome so much inner
battles,
barrier.
right?
Yes, inner battles.
Yeah.
And also because we are not used to effective communication. Then we will say things wrong. We might have picked the wrong time, in the wrong tone,
Yes,
in the wrong manner,
right.
Using the wrong language. So then, of course, the other side would not take it well.
No.
We might get further accusations.
Yeah.
Things might become worse before they become better.
Right.
So let's remember again, we have to come back to ourselves and remember, why am I doing this? Why do I want to avoid confrontation? Or why do I want to tell the truth? Is it for the better, greater good for everyone?
Okay.
Right? So harmony, if it is built on pretense, is not real harmony, right? And love is, if it's built on lies, is not real love. So we have to be very honest with ourselves before we can be honest with the other side. So I would say, if we don't do it well in the first time, or the first 10 times or 100th time, still we have to remind ourselves why we do this. Okay? There are so many people who live till the last minute of their life and still never been able to be their true self. There's so much survey research which tells us people regret. The biggest regret we have is that we've never been our true self.
Yeah.
And we can't blame others for that. Now we are all adults, right?
Yeah.
When we were young, we might have excuses. Now that we are adults, we have experienced so much in life.
It is for us to do it. Yeah.
It is for us to learn and practice authenticity, honesty, out of good faith, out of respect for our life as well as others. you know.
Yeah.
Really, I think this is something we have to learn. It's not easy.
No. And
Yeah, that's why I think the next thing we want is a community,
yeah.
a learning community that we grow together. Like today, Karen and Red, we can have such frank conversation.
Yeah.
Because we want to become a better person.
Yeah.
We want to live our life purpose.
Yeah.
You know, we are not just those roles.
No.
We are ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, so one last question, which is about forgiveness. Of course, in life, we all have been wronged by someone or many people. But I firmly believe that when we carry that burden, it's not the other person who suffers.
Yes.
It is me who suffers.
Yes.
But forgiving is not easy, right?
Yes.
And even especially if it's a situation where it's a family member, or you feel that you wish things were different, but you know deep inside that it's beyond their control.
Yes.
Right? You know that it's like maybe it's their upbringing, the however it may be, like what you said. But how did you forgive your father eventually? How do we get to that space?
Yes. I think firstly we have to learn to forgive ourselves. Whatever we see in the world is a reflection of who we are inside. So if we feel we have been wronged, you know, like in my younger days, I felt my father had wronged me, and I became very rebellious. But on the surface, I still tried to be the good girl that my father wanted, only to suffer the consequence in my 20s and 30s.
Okay.
With the sacrifice of bad intimate relationship. So I think we just have to learn that we can make mistakes. I reconciled with my father because I had forgiven myself first.
Right.
I no longer demand that I need to be the perfect girl for my father. Okay? I accepted that I was not perfect. And the magic happens when I forgave myself. Suddenly this weight in my heart just disappeared.
Right.
I no longer demanded that I would fulfill my father's expectations.
Okay.
So when I forgave myself, then I was able to forgive him. Or actually, in the process of forgiving myself of not being the perfect girl for my father,
Right.
I already somehow let go of him. At the end of the day, we know there's there's no such thing called forgiveness.
Okay.
In my age, I don't know you. You are in your 50s, me too. There was this movie called The Love Story.
Yeah.
There's this famous line in the movie: love is never to say sorry.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we know
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
So when I watched that film, it puzzled me because I was still hoping my father will apologize for all his wrongdoings. But now, years later, I realized, yes. In fact, if we think that we have to forgive, we are holding a higher moral ground. We think that we have the right to forgive someone or forgive ourselves. At the end of the day, I think whatever we've done and experienced in our life, it has to happen that way for us to learn and grow. So all is well. Okay, even mistakes are necessary.
Yeah, because it's a learning.
Yeah, it's a learning.
Opportunity.
If we have not made mistakes, if we had been perfect, if we have gotten the respect and the love we wanted from day one, there's nothing we need to learn and nowhere to grow. And why is it that we have chosen this life to be here in this planet?
Yeah.
You know, life is a process of learning and growing. And we learn and grow particularly because of the failures and mistakes. So if we want to forgive ourselves, perhaps we can take, a different perspective, looking at our life in terms of learning and growing.
Mm.
And then we will see the nutrients that mistakes and failures bring to us. In particular, the hardship we suffer in relationship.
Yeah.
You know, the disappointments, the humiliations, the never fulfilled expectations. You know, we learn to see them from a different angle.
True.
And we become so grateful what happened had happened. And that's why we have become a better person today. And we will see from now on till the last minute of life, you know, we will take care of ourselves. We will know how to be self-compassionate. And the more we know how to love ourselves, the better we know how to love others.
That's so well said, Dr. Red. I mean, really, it's, you know, fundamentally, when you seek some kind of knowledge, is all within us. It's all within us, whether how we love ourselves, how we understand what we want, how our needs, before we start giving up. Always remember the analogy, like on the airplane, you know, put the mask on yourself first before you take care of those around you. So that is the messaging here. And thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you, Karen.
Oh my goodness,
I really
this
appreciate
is so
our dialogue.
enlightening. Yeah, and most important, Midlife Mojo fans, please subscribe. Please follow us, and I'll try my best to bring you valuable content. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.